Hey everyone, welcome back to MLWorks. In this video, we'll be discussing about JAX and we'll also talk about how it is more performant than traditional frameworks like PyTorch and TensorFlow. Before we understand the programming aspect of JAX, let us understand the confusion or clear the confusion between JAX, JIT and XLA. So all these three components are part of a single system that performs high performance numerical computing. And to understand the relationship between these three, you have to start with JAX, which is a Python library which has an interface similar to NumPy. And it is typically used for numerical operations and automatic differentiation, vectorization and parallel mapping. But unlike NumPy, it is used for scaling all these numerical operations into accelerators like GPUs and TPUs. Now all these JAX operations are expressed in terms of XLA, which is the compiler that we'll talk about later. Now consider you have written a Python function in JAX. Now next what you do is you pass in a just-in-time compilation by adding a decorator on top of that function using jax.jet. So what this decorator will do is it will trace through the function and understand its computation graph. And this graph is then called as JAX PR, which is passed to XLA. XLA is the Accelerated Linear Algebra compiler and it is a domain specific compiler. So what it will do is it will optimize and fuse the operations. Consider you have multiple operations like matrix multiplication followed by element wise addition. So all those multiple operations are combined into one operation. And it will generate a highly optimized machine code kernel for specific hardware like CPU, GPU and TPU. So this is the relation between these three components. Now in short, JAX is the user facing framework. So the user has to write the Python function in JAX. And JIT is the method that will transform your JAX code into computation graph. And that computation graph is then sent to XLA, which will be turned into an optimized machine code and it will be executed on top of the hardware. Now coming to the JAX programming aspect, JAX follows functional programming. So what it means is everything is a pure function in JAX. So it is predictable by design itself. So output strictly depends on the input. So consider you have written a function. So the output of that function depends on the input parameter that you send. There is nothing more to it. And then next functionality of JAX is immutable data. So consider you declared an array. So you cannot go ahead and modify that array. And then comes our PRNG, which is pseudo random number generator. So normally you will by default there will be some random global seed for the declaration that you do in any of the frameworks like PyTorch or even TensorFlow. But in this case you have to manage and explicitly create your PRNG key, which will be used across your program to reproduce the experiments. Then comes the explicit state management. Since these are just functions, they are stateless and they don't remember things how it is normally happens with the classes. What are the benefits of having a functional program? So you can create composable transformations as mentioned here. It looks like one function inside another function. It looks like Lego bricks to create highly complex and high-speed pipelines. Then comes XLA compiler optimization. So using this specific compiler, we fuse multiple operations into one such that we can reduce the memory overhead. And then comes our automatic parallelism, which is our PMAP function. What it will do is it can share your data across multiple CPU, GPU, TPU and perform all the operations in parallel. So now let's talk about the key functionalities of JAX. There are four key functionalities we'll be looking at. One is jax.jet, which will compile your Python function into computation graph, which gets executed in XLA. Then comes our jax.grad, which is the automatic differentiation function that will be heavily used in machine learning problems. And then comes our vmap, which is an automatic vectorization method, which will be transforming your function into a vectorization function. which will be able to operate on batches of data. Then comes JAX.pmap, which is parallel maps. So this will be used to move your function across multiple devices, whether it could be GPU, TPU or CPU. These are the 4 key functions of JAX. So to perform the same set of operations in PyTorch, you have to write separate set of codes both in PyTorch and TensorFlow. It often requires explicit code changes or separate APIs for high performance features like JIT and parallelism. So now consider this, right? You have this function which is optimized operation and it has this decorator jax.jit. And here these 3 lines where you have this x is equal to relu of x is equal to x into 2.0 and then this summation. Now all these 3 will be transformed into one operation when you are trying to compile it into XLA. So this is basically what Fusion is all about. Now let us understand what will be the performance gap between NumPy and JAX on a simple MLP. So let me go to anti-gravity here. And here you have this README document and this is the prerequisite for this task. So first we have to install JAX, JAXlib and NumPy. So these are the different packages for running your JAX code and also the NumPy code. And for this task we'll be building the simple MLP where you have 10,000 records and each record has 512 features and that will be sent to a hidden layer of 1024 dimension. And then there is second layer which will be giving you the final output. So now let us go and see how to implement this in NumPy sample. So this is the code. So here first we import the package which is NumPy and time, and then we check what is the version of NumPy we are using. And then we create a function called MLP_batch. It takes in your input which will be 10,000 cross 512 and then we have your first layer weight and first layer bias and second layer weight and second layer bias. First we perform the matrix calculation between input and the weight plus bias. Then we apply the nonlinear activation function which is tan h. This will give us the result for first layer. And that result is passed to the second layer where we multiply with second layer weight which is W2 and add it with bias in the second layer. And here we declare our dimension and generate the random input data and parameter using NumPy. And then we start with our timer and make a call to MLP batch with those inputs and parameters value. So let me run this here. So let me clear this. So let us go to the virtual environment which is deep agent bin/activate, clear this again, then run python or NumPy sample, and this gave the result in 0.3 seconds for the specific calculation between this MLP. Now what we'll do is we'll go and understand our JAX sample code. So this is the code. Let me bring this down. So here first we import JAX and then we import jax.numpy as JNP, then time package. Then we define a function called MLP where we pass in our parameter which is W1, W2, B1 and B2 and X is our input. And then we make a call then we create our first layer where we get our input stored in H, and then we go to second layer where we multiply with second layer weights and biases. So here we declare our dimension again. Now the important point here is how to generate this pseudo random generator, because if you want to reproduce this experiment then you have to create a key and which needs to be used across all the initialization. So if you see here, once we create a key using PRNG, which is the pseudo random number generator, we'll be making use of this key across all the declarations that we do for parameters and input. So here we declare weight 1, bias 1, weight 2 and bias 2. Next we vectorize and compile the function. So we use jax.vmap which is the vectorizes the MLP to handle a batch of inputs efficiently without manually looping through each data point. And then we make use of JAX.jet, which is just-in-time compilation, the function for better performance, which will be transforming into computation graph, and that will be sent to XLA. So once this is done, we get our batched MLP. And here what we do is we make a dummy warm-up call to this specific function such that it will understand the input that we are passing, what is their dimension and everything. Make a call and it will execute everything. But what will happen is once you execute this one here, and when you do it for the subsequent call, this will be a lot faster compared to this one, because here we are caching all the values like the shape of the data that you are sending and all the other parameters that you are sending. So once you make a call here with the warm-up call, you again call that same function and store the results in output variable and check the amount of time it has taken to run this function. And then here we represent our JAX PR, which is the intermediate representation that you get after compilation from JET. So let me call this again. So JAX underscore sample. Let us see how long it takes to run this. So it got executed. Now let us see the difference in time. So it is 0.3 seconds. So it is 0.001, which is 100x times faster than the NumPy sample. And this is the JAX PR that we wanted to view at. So this takes in all the different dimensions. So it is, if you see here, this is A is your variable and this is the dimension of that. Then comes your F, which is the last layer, final output. And this is your hidden layer, and this is your input that you are sending 512 in 2024. So this is the JAX PR that we wanted to check. Now if you want to look at the final result, which will be done by XLA, you can also do, I guess this should work, print jax.compile IR, I guess. Yeah, this is the one. This function should work. Yeah. So let me minimize this. Let me run it again. Okay, maybe it is a different version where we can view compiled IR. So anyway, the point being, we are able to see the difference in time that is taken by JAX compared against NumPy, which is 100x difference. So if you are trying to write a code from scratch for a specific model, so it is better to implement that in JAX rather than PyTorch or TensorFlow, because the overhead is very high when it comes to PyTorch and TensorFlow. So with that, I'll be concluding this video. Thank you for watching.